Good morning, everyone. This project is done by Dominic, Walter, and Hector. And our project title will be Preemptive versus Non-Preemptive Kernels. What is a preemptive kernel? On a preemptive kernel, a process running in kernel mode can be replaced by another process while in the middle of a kernel function. The main motivation for making a kernel preemptive is to reduce the dispatch latency of the user mode processes. That is the delay between the time they become runnable and the time they actually begin running. The kernel can be preemptive only when it's executing an exception handler in a particular system call, and a kernel preemption has not been explicitly disabled. Preemptive kernel diagram. The highest priority task ready to run is always given control of the CPU. When a task makes a higher priority task ready to run, the current task is preemptive, suspended, and the higher priority task is immediately given control of the CPU. If an ISR makes a higher priority task ready, when the ISR complete, the interrupted task is suspended and the new higher priority task is resumed. So let's take a look at this diagram right here. Looking at this diagram, just imagine a line going across horizontally right here where the processes are running is the CPU. So currently process A, which has a low priority, is running on the CPU. And process A gets interrupted by process B trying to use the CPU. So the ISR looks into process B and it notices that it's a higher priority. So process B has a higher priority, so process A must get swapped. So as you can take a look right here in the circle, process A gets stored in memory. So process A gets stored in memory, and as soon as process B, which is right here at the bottom, is done using the CPU, process A gets brought back into the CPU for it can finish where it left off. So as you can see, process A is right here. So we follow back, it goes back into the CPU, and process A finishes what it has to do. Now we are going to be looking at another diagram. We are still in a preemptive kernel, and we're going to switch things around. Let's say process A, which you can see right here, has a high priority, and then again process A gets interrupted by process B trying to use the CPU. So the ISR noticed that process B has a low priority, so process B cannot jump in and be swapped because process A has a higher priority. So as you can see, it gets stopped right there. Process A continues doing its own thing. So once process A is done, that's when process B can now get into the CPU. This only happens in primitive kernels. Feature in Windows that you can actually stop process using the task manager. So let's say Google Chrome has many tabs open, has a bunch of websites running Adobe Flash, and it freezes the browser. You don't know how long it will take for the browser to finish a certain process running in the background. Good thing we have a preemptive operating system such as Windows and Mac that will help us with this problem using our friend, the Task Manager. So again, we have Google Chrome running right here. It has multiple tabs, and let's just say Google Chrome froze. So the way in a primitive system like Windows 7, which I have right here, you just want to go into the taskbar. You want to right click. You want to go to Start Task Manager, and right here you're going to see a bunch of tabs: applications, processes, services, performance, networking, users, and all that stuff. So as you can see, Chrome has not just one process running, but has multiple processes, one for each of the tabs that's open, and it has more such as the Flash and a lot more processes running in the background. So usually in general, you could click each individual one and end the process. So if I end the process for this one, that terminates the Netflix tab. And then overall, if you want to terminate all processes all at once, you go to applications, you go into you select the Chrome, and you just want to hit end task, and from there you just kill a process. Now let's talk about non-preemptive kernels. A non-preemptive kernel requires a process to give up the control of the CPU. In simple terms, it means that the process is hogging all of the CPU, and no other process can interrupt it until either the process is finished or voluntarily hands it over. A non-preemptive kernel is essentially free from race conditions on kernel data structures, as only one process is active in the kernel at a time. Examples of non-primitive kernels systems, we're back in the early days of Windows 3.1 and MS-DOS. So when process A is running on the CPU and process B, with a higher priority, wants to get into the CPU, it goes through the ISR. The ISR won't let process B a chance due to the fact that this is a non-preemptive kernel. It won't matter if process B is a super small process that will take less time than process A, or if it has a higher priority, the ISR won't let it go through. All process B can do is just wait its turn.
Okay, thank you processors for coming to Club CPU, the hottest club in town. I am the preemptive kernel. I'll be deciding who gets to go in or out. Unfortunately, due to our size capacity of the club, we could only have one process in at a time. So you could all have your IDs ready, then we can get the night started. Alright, process A. Club is currently empty. No one's inside. You're free to go inside. Process B, you're gonna have to wait until process A is done with the club. He has the club out to himself right now, so just give him a moment, okay? Oh, where do you think you're going? Club. VIP. High priority. VIP, very important process. Oh, my bad, I didn't know. Okay, process A, you gotta come back out, sir. Sorry about the, but you can wait from the beginning of the line. Sorry about that. Go ahead, process B. I'll keep you waiting.
Hello processes, welcome to Club CPU, Night 2. I am the non-preemptive kernel and I'll be deciding who gets to go in or out. Same rules as yesterday. I can only allow one process in at the club at a time. So if you can all wait, line up in the queue with your IDs ready. Wait, hold up, stop. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get in the club CPU. I'm VIP. I'm high priority. Preamp let me in yesterday. What's going on?
I'm non-preemptive kernel. Process B has to finish first, and when he gets out, you have to wait your turn. I don't have no favorites.
What about Jackson? Will this work?
Nah, bro. Nah, go wait in the queue.
All right.
I'm out.
Alright, the club is clear. Process C, you can proceed. Thanks.